Welcome to the Business of Design podcast. This is episode number 32. And if you're a regular listener, you're going to love that Veronica Solomon is back. She's an interior designer from Katy, Texas, and this woman is a powerhouse. She has transformed her business in the last 4 or 5 years and has an inner confidence that I think we all will admire. And Veronica and I are going to be talking about a subject which we both feel very strongly about, and it has to do with markups, and in fact, why we don't even call them markups, because that's perceived as so negative. Veronica is going to tell you in her own words, but suffice it to say that for at least 12 or 13 years, I've been teaching business of design, and one of the first strategies I tapped into was this idea of sharing my discounts with customers so that I could refer to markups rather than markups, which has kind of a negative connotation, but as a discount from retail or a discount from suggested market value. And it has worked so brilliantly in my business life. It is transparent. I can't say enough nice things about it, but you're going to hear Veronica talk about it in her own words. As we were chatting about the topic, though, something came up which happens to come up fairly regularly, and that has to do with clients shopping me or shopping you. And the truth is, my clients don't shop me anymore. And the reason they don't shop me is because I have a sophisticated button-down system and a process for running jobs. So there's no time to shop me. There's no reason to shop me. And also, I'm looking for that ideal customer who is too busy to shop me. My perfect client are two people who are working full-time, and they have money, but they don't have time. That to me is a perfect situation because I can provide an invaluable service to that family and bring their Friday nights around the dinner table to life in a way that is efficient and effective. So that's part of the reason maybe I don't get shopped. But the other part of the reason is we have a pretty tight system between steps 3 and 5 that doesn't really allow for a lot of shopping me. I don't do multiple meetings. I don't show them part of what I'm thinking, which then sends them to the internet seeing if they can do better. I show them everything, all of it, all at once. And that has worked so effectively for the last decade or so. I can't tell you, I will never, ever go back. You're going to hear from Veronica Solomon. She's clearly running a mature, sophisticated business. She's very approachable. You may already friend her on Facebook, and if you don't, I would encourage you to do so. She's a real mentor and a wonderful person, and I'm so happy she took time to be in the podcast. Before you get to hear from Veronica, though, we're going to hear from the wonderful Cheryl Horn. It's the fabulous Cheryl checking in with us. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. What's in your crystal ball coming up?
Next week, we have our quarterly webinars we've been doing for all our freemium members. So anyone can sign up on Business of Design and attend this. And it's coming up on November 8th, next Wednesday. And you're going to cover the top 10 questions we get from our members. So this is through both your coaching sessions, your group coaching sessions, as well as the questions we get on the forum. So the top 10 questions that we get from members, you're going to go over that as part of our free webinar. Again, it's next Wednesday at 8. Not at 8, on November 8th. So make sure you sign up for that and you can attend.
Okay, awesome. So there are 3 levels of membership if you're not familiar with Business of Design yet. The first one is free. Just come and play with us and get to know the community. And there is a lot of learning that happens at that level. The second one is monthly membership. $67.50 gets you access to hundreds of courses and then webinars that are for members only. And if you're feeling like you want to make a commitment, and we hope you will because it helps us do our annual planning, annual membership is $675. You get all the courses, plus there's some extra master courses that allow you to have access to my personal contracts that I use for hourly fees and flat fees. So your membership matters to us. It allows us to continue to provide content and plan conferences and all those kind of wonderful things that we hope to do. So looking forward to November 8th. That sounds great. And you'll be on the call as well, right, Cheryl?
Yes, I will. I will see you there.
All right. Take care.
Welcome to the Business of Design podcast with Kimberley Seldon. Brought to you by Business of Design, a coaching community for independent designers like you. We all know design matters. At Business of Design, we think designers matter too.
And now, back to the show. Veronica, it's great to have you back. Thank you for taking time out of your day.
Well, thank you for having me back.
Well, we had so much fun last time, and I could see that we're kindred spirits, and you have so much business acumen to share with everyone. And we thought we would tackle a topic that, for both of us, is handled in a way that is unlike how most of the industry handles it, and that has to do with the word markup, or the concept of markup, which neither you nor I believe in that, by the way.
Right.
So first, tell everybody, what is markup? How do people use that term, and why do they use that term?
Well, markup, I think they use that term as it's an amount or percentage that you add to your cost or your net price on a product so you can make a profit on it. Mm-hmm. We all want to do that. We all want to be profitable in business. And so, of course, you want to add some margin so you can be profitable. We just don't like to use the word markup around our clients because it has a negative tone, in my opinion.
It does. And we have a workaround. And I guess right off the top, why don't you share what the workaround is?
Well, for me, what I call it is a discount off retail, because really that's what I am doing. In fact, I call it a discount off of my discount. And it sounds very complicated when I explain it to designers, but when I explain it to my clients, it makes perfect sense to them. So basically what I do is I take whatever discount I get off of retail and I split that discount with my clients. And so that's the way I work around instead of using the word markup. So really I'm saving my clients money versus adding money to, it doesn't sound like I'm adding money, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so that's fundamental to Business of Design philosophy. We've been teaching that for 15 years, and I've never had a client not understand it and not love it. And so when they ask me specifically, how do you mark up? I say, we don't mark up, we discount from retail. And we share any discounts we get. Like, that's across the board. It doesn't matter if it's on product or on trades. Any discounts that come to us, we share those with clients. And what I love about it is I can remain completely transparent in my business practices. I don't have to hide the fact for my clients that I'm making money, because every dollar I make is a dollar they save.
That's exactly right. I really wanted, and this actually really came from listening to you. I really wanted to, I've always been a very truthful, transparent person and kind of say what's on my mind sometimes, even when I shouldn't sometimes. And I always wanted to be able to express this to my client, but not sounding as if I'm, robbing their shirts off of them. And so when I came across your concept, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. I can let my clients know that, yes, I am making some money off of this, but I'm actually saving you money. So if you were to go buy this product on your own, you're obviously going to be paying the retail price. And because you're going through me, I am extending some of my discount to you. So it's a win-win for everybody.
And the fact of the matter is, if you're sitting out there thinking, no, but, I like markup, that's great. If you put this a different way, it's really just semantics. We are marking up on the cost that we're purchasing the product. We're just presenting it to our clients in a way that's more palatable and in a way that makes us look our best. And why wouldn't you want to do that? What's the downside to doing that?
Absolutely, because this process itself is very overwhelming. It's very new to our clients. And if we can ease them through it, it's the big unknown to a lot of clients. There's still so much mystery in this industry. And so when you're able to position yourself as if you are, I'm working for you, I'm working with you, I'm trying to get this done for you in a way that we're all going to be happy at the end of it, because that's my goal, is to make you happy, then there's nothing wrong with positioning yourself in that light to your clients and be their hero, because that's what you're doing. There's no lie. We're not, hiding anything. It's the truth of the matter is we're saving our clients money. So that's the way I prefer to position myself.
I love it. And the fact of the matter is, again, clients can look at my original invoices if they want to, because I'm not hiding anything. And the way that I used to do it is the way that most of the industry does it, which is I would mark it up as high as I thought I could get away with it.
Right.
And that was true particularly for trades, right? Like maybe my drapery guy was really expensive, so I only marked him up 10%. But my plumber was really inexpensive, so I marked him up 30%. And then when the client said to me, "What do you mark up?" my face looked like, oh shoot. Yeah, which one is it? And immediately there's a perception of deception, right? And now I can say, like, whatever the discount is, whatever the preferred pricing rate is, I share that with the clients. I share whatever that is down from retail with the clients, and clients do understand it. And the other thing I want to say, when we do a presentation and the bottom line is $300,000, they can see simultaneously or concurrently with that the savings on $300,000 was $75,000 or whatever. And that's an opportunity for me to say, yes, I know you've thought our hourly fees are substantial, and they are, but we're completely covered by the discount sharing. In other words, I'm almost free because I'm sharing all my hefty discounts with you, right?
Absolutely. And it's so good that you mentioned that, because I absolutely do that as well. Where when I'm doing my presentations with my clients, I actually put what the price they would have paid on that product would be, and then I put the price that I've extended to them, and they can see clearly what the discount amount is. And then when it's all added up at the bottom and they see how much money they've saved because I'm involved, my fee doesn't look so crazy after all. So it's very good that you mentioned that, because it's so important to me to show my clients the savings that they're getting. So not only do I include it in my agreement, but I'm also including it in my presentation to them.
Right. Okay. So this is all to say, you guys, we understand that markup is a thing and it exists, but we're just asking you to think about your vocabulary and maybe change up how you position yourself in terms of markup to clients. Now let's move on and let's talk about how you can grow those markups or grow that margin to become more profitable. And by the way, the more profitable you become, the more money your clients save. So Veronica, do you have some tips on how you can create healthy margins for yourself as you're working with clients?
Well, for me, and I guess I'll kind of go over how I work out my margins and how I calculate that amount, because it's kind of a little bit different from what I think other people, the way other people do it. Wow, why was that so hard to say?
It's morning here. I don't know where you are.
And I've had my coffee already, so I don't know.
Oh yeah. Where are you, by the way? You're in Texas.
Yeah, I'm in Katy, Texas. Yes,
okay. I'm in Santa Monica. We've got some fog rolling over the ocean right now. And anyway, it's kind of nice. I've got my coffee here. I like talking to you. So go ahead. You've got lots to say.
Okay. So, for example, a sofa, let's just use that as an example. And the sofa retails for $1,200 and my cost is $500. So that gives me a discount of $700. What I do is I take that discount of $700 and my split discount is 65-35. So I keep 65% off the discounts and I give my clients 35%. And so I take that $700 that I'm saving and I take 65% off of that, and that I add back to my net amount, which in this case, it would be $455, I think. So I add that $455 back to the net amount of $500. And that is my cost to my client, it would be about $955, I think. And the reason why I take it off of my discount versus taking it off of the whole retail is because I don't have any control over the net cost that the supplier, the vendor is charging me. That is set in stone. I have to pay that amount. What I have control over is the discount that they're giving me. So that's what I play with. That's what I split with my clients. And so it does make a difference. It actually gives you a little bit more when you work it out that way versus when you take the discount off the actual retail price. And so I'm able to maximize, my margins that way a little bit in order to make a little bit more money on the back end for my business.
Right. Now, we've had Dean from Design Docs go through this with us as well. That's the formula that Design Docs uses for us, which is great. For if you're new to this, I'm going to break this down a little bit, and I'm going to say, let's take that same sofa, and your savings is $700. The sofa costs you $500, the retail price, or, and this is really important, the suggested retail price, because sometimes you're buying from a wholesale supplier. So you need to use the suggested retail price. So that suggested retail price is $1,200. The difference between your $500 cost and the suggested retail price is $700. If you're new to this and you don't have software to help you do this, at a minimum, what you could do is divide $700 in half, and the client would save $350 and you would keep $350. So that's your basic. That gets you started if you're brand new to this and you just don't feel like you can handle too much more. What Veronica is talking about is actually a method that puts a few more dollars in your pocket. And it sounds complicated, doesn't it, Veronica, as you're trying to explain it? Yeah, but it's not quite as complicated as it sounds. So Veronica, walk through it one more time. Same scenario. $500 sofa, your discount is $700 because the suggested retail is $1,200.
So 65%, which is the amount that 65% off $700 is $455. So that is the amount that I am keeping from my discount. And then the 35%, which I think is $245, is the amount that I'm going to discount that product for my client. So I'm taking my $455 and I'm adding it back to the net amount of $500, and that is my cost to my client. And the way I position this in my contract, I hope it's okay if I read this little line from my contract.
Yes.
I basically say that merchandise to be purchased by client from designer will be specified in a written furniture proposal prepared by designer and submitted in each instance to client for approval. Each proposal will describe the item and a specified price to client. The specified price of each item shall be a manufacturer's suggested retail price, or MSRP, less 35% of any discount that we receive. So it's very important to me to emphasize to my client that 35% that I'm saving them is off of the discount that I get and not off of the MSRP itself.
Absolutely.
So that's what that formula is. And like you said, it does kind of sound complicated, but I always kind of do this little numbered visual thing with my clients and kind of explain it in that way. And they usually understand it right away. So, but you're right. It kind of does sound a little bit complicated, but it really isn't.
No, that's great. And I think for some people, particularly like me, I'm a visual learner. So if you don't mind, can we have the language that you just read to us out loud and whatever little graph or chart or written math you could provide us, and we'll put that up on the website under your episode number. And this is going to be episode number 32, Veronica Solomon, everybody, who's a repeat guest, and we love her. And then, so when you go to businessofdesign.com under episode 32, you're going to be able to find that. And I think if you are looking at that as you're listening to Veronica describe it, it becomes very clear. So, and I think one thing to put out there that I really admire about you is you're not afraid to make money. You're not apologetic about the fact that you need to make money. There's no because so often when I talk to designers, they're like, well, I feel bad because we're charging an hourly fee and then I'm going to take money on top of that. Like, it doesn't seem right. So talk to me about that. How did you get confident and comfortable owning that business space and knowing that your company should be profitable?
Well, a lot of that, I've always felt that way, that if I'm in business, I need to be making money. I've been in business for about 10 years, and I did struggle a lot in the very beginning. And that's because I was falling into that mentality that, you should always try to look out for your clients first, and by all means you should, but you're also in business to make money. And then I came across you, of course, and you started to empower the thinking that I was having that, yes, I'm supposed to be making money doing this. Why am I working so hard, but yet I cannot pay my mortgage or I cannot pay my bills? I mean, it just didn't make sense to me. Right. And so I started to own this thing that's called business savvy. And then I thought about it, and I thought to myself, well, I'm bringing a service to my clients. I'm providing every item, every aspect of this design process to them. They don't have to do anything other than make a couple decisions up front and say yay or nay, I like this design, and then I take over and I get everything done for them. So that is what I'm doing for them as a service. And then in addition to that, I am bringing them products. I'm making it very convenient for them. They don't have to take my design now and run down to, the corner store and go try to purchase these items on their own. I'm bringing these products to them. And so therefore I consider myself a retailer as well. So they're actually purchasing products from me. I'm just making it very convenient for them to do that. I've already, worked out the dimensions and the color and everything and made it, making it easy for us to identify what products to purchase. And so why shouldn't I make a profit off of these products that I'm presenting to my clients, just like a normal retailer would? And so that's when I kind of got into the mindset that, yes, this is perfectly fine. It's completely acceptable for me to make money and make a profit. And the minute I start doing that, I started to see the whole thing changed and the game changed for me. And I started to actually make money in my business for the first time ever. And I can actually pay my bills now. So it was very empowering for me.
I'm so excited for you. Just even the way you describe that, I realize the value we bring to clients is so significant. And think about everybody. Put your consumer hat on for a minute. If you could phone somebody and have them take care of purchasing your new phone and your new data plan and your new text messaging plan and get on the phone with somebody when something goes wrong with it and just handle that for you, wouldn't you pay for that? I mean, I'd be so happy to pay somebody to do that stuff for me so I never have to do it again, right? Or, right? I mean, and the work that we do is so complicated and so time consuming, and we've figured out some efficiencies so it doesn't take as much time. But when I have a client who's saying, well, couldn't I do some of the purchasing myself? Usually I'll say to them, what was the last, home decor item you purchased? And they'll say, oh, we went shopping for a mattress. How long did that take you? And how stressful was that? And how easy was it for you to make decisions about pillow top versus no pillow top versus, all the questions that they're going to ask you when you go out and buy a mattress? That's one thing. When you're decorating your house, there's 400 things. Do you really have time to do that 400 times? I don't think you do. So, yeah, right? I mean, gosh, I think at the end of the day, we're an incredibly valuable service. And no, not everybody could afford it. Absolutely, that's true. So you want to find your sweet spot, that customer who is strapped for time, but has money, and they're going to turn it over to you and trust you to make smart decisions.
That's true. And I mean, I get it all the time where, if I tell somebody that I'm a designer, oh my gosh, how fun. People pay you to shop. Right. I'm like, yeah, sounds fun until you actually have to do it.
I know. I'm thinking, listen up, Cupcake. You couldn't handle my job for one day.
Not even a day. I'm working on a couple, large projects right now. And, there are little things that come up and I have to make quick decisions and immediately have to think of a solution. And I call myself a problem solver because half the time that's what I'm doing. It's just like, okay, well, there wasn't enough fabric for that. Okay, here's what we're going to do instead. Or the thing came in damaged and we're installing it next week. Okay, here's what we're going to do instead. So we're always thinking on our feet and always coming up with solutions. Clients, I mean, if that was to happen to them, they'd panic immediately. It would just be all panicking all the time. And so we're so used to, working through some of these issues and even have systems in place to handle things like that it's worth paying for.
And I've had those clients too, the clients who like to go out to the ledge. The minute there's something wrong, it's like drama and, oh my God, this is the end of the world. No, actually, it's just drapes. Hang on. Don't jump yet. But I will say to them, like, you're paying me to worry. You're paying me to worry about this. And I'm stressed out of my mind right now, and I won't be able to sleep until this is resolved. So there's no reason for both of us to be worried about this. You hand the baton to me and let me do it. I want to go back to that idea of how to increase those markups. Because if you're buying at stores that are, if you're going to TJ Maxx to do your shopping, cut it out because there's no discount there for you. And there's no glory there for you. And you're saving the client a few dollars, but you're shooting yourself in the foot. So I do think you also want to be strategic about who you're buying from, because some stores will give you 10% off. Some stores are giving you 20 or 30% off. And then, of course, there's wholesale, which is giving you, sometimes 200% off. Do you think about that as you're selecting your vendors?
Absolutely. And this is a very important reason why I go to market as much as I do, because I'm trying to find vendors who I can maximize. They will allow me to maximize my profits. And so I look for ones that I can get the best pricing from. And so when sometimes you go to some of the bigger vendors and they're trying to send you to, well, there's a local company that they're to the trade and you should go buy from them. Well, I'm like, no, I don't want to buy from them because they're adding 10, 20% to the wholesale cost. And, I'm trying to pay less than that. So I want to set up my own account and, give you volumes. And that's what I try to do. I try to have that loyalty thing going, because if I bring you all of my business, well, I don't have one vendor for certain things. I mean, I'll have 4 or 5 upholstery vendors, for example, but I try to do business with some of the same people and build my volume with them. That way I can get the best pricing, and I try to avoid working with companies who don't want to give me the best pricing possible, because I'm trying to maximize my profits, and in order to do that, then I have to source the products save on the products that I'm sourcing from my clients. And so it's very important to me to go to market and, find some of those new vendors and work with them as much as possible and build relationships with my representatives and try to avoid running. I don't even do retail shopping hardly ever. I mean, if I'm styling a room and I need to run down to, to Home Goods and get a few little tiny items to kind of fill a bookshelf, I may do that. But for the most part, I'm ordering from to the trade wholesale vendors where I can get the best pricing possible.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought up High Point, because we're going to take a Business of Design trip there in April, and maybe Veronica, if we tempt you with martinis or something, you'll do a little talk for everybody.
Yes.
Can we tempt you to do that?
I'm in.
Okay.
Say martini and I'm there.
Martinis and markups, people. High Point 2018. Be there. Okay. I'm glad you brought up High Point, because I didn't go for so many years, because years ago, you couldn't buy directly. They were really focused on making sure you bought through their retail suppliers, but it's totally different now, and you can buy direct from anybody. And we do a lot of shopping at High Point. But I'm going to give a shout out to local retail stores too, because we do use local retail stores, and yes, our markup is less at local retail stores, but there's a couple of things to think about, I think. Number one is you want to keep those favorite retail locations going in your community. I think it's really important to keep local stores open. So there's that, and the second thing is when there's a big mistake on a job, like I'll give you an example. We purchased 2 sofas, and they were a matching pair of sofas, and something went wrong, and we didn't get our matching pair of sofas. So luckily, I had a great relationship with a retail store. I called them. They said, we have 2 gray sofas miraculously sitting here in inventory. And I said, can you ship them to my client's house today? We're in the middle of an install, and these 2 sofas aren't around, and the clients are about to come home to their living room with no sofas. Mm-hmm. So because I had a great relationship with that store, we were able to get those sofas on a truck. They were sitting in the client's home. They weren't the sofas the client ordered, but they were damn close. The clients didn't even notice. I had to tell them those were different sofas. They could care less. They were great sofas. It was done. So I do think there are some advantages to keeping a healthy relationship with those local stores. So for example, in Los Angeles, I do a lot of shopping on La Cienega. I just love all those stores, and they have to stay there. I can't live without, Meatcock's Gardens and Dragonette and all those great shops on La Cienega. So I got to keep those people alive for sure. Mm-hmm. But you're right, we do some bulk shopping at High Point. And I'm actually in April, I will be at the back end of the Business of Design trip. I have a client who will be meeting me in High Point, and we're going to she wants to do some shopping together. We've done 3 houses with her, so I know her well enough to know she can handle this, and we're going to do some shopping for her at High Point together, which will be really, really fun. So you are aware of those suppliers who give you the deepest discount, and that's strategically, that's smart for your business.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and you're right, because I try to keep a mix. I try to have a very good mix, because there is certain situations where I have to go to some of those, local places. And so I think it's very important that you have, different vendors that you can go to for different things. And just for example, I do e-design. So I do have to specify retailers for that, obviously. And I try to set up affiliate accounts in order for me to even make a commission off of the links that I'm sharing with my clients for the different products that they're purchase for their e-design. So I have that as well too. So for me, it's always thinking like a business person, though. It's like, how can I make the most money off of this and still provide my clients with the value that they're paying me for? And so that's when I decide who I'm going to pick for whatever project I'm working on. So the retailers do play a role, the trade showrooms locally also play a role, but I'm still always trying to maximize my profits as much as possible.
Absolutely. And that is the best strategy for your clients as well, because every time you make money, they save money in terms of your product that you're purchasing. How does this impact you in terms of trades? Because I do almost a similar thing with trades, and I know that's that's another podcast, but do you have a similar method when you're working with trades? Do you use the business of design way of working with trades?
Yes. So my trades do offer me a discount off of what they would have normally charged a regular client. And that's because I use the same trades over and over for years and years. And so just like you, I think yours is 20%. And that's what I've negotiated as well with my tradespeople. And so that I split 50-50 with my clients.
Right. Okay, good. Lots of our trades are deeper than 20%. Our lowest is 20%, but we have some trades who are 60%, which we love.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So go back and I'm glad we're having this conversation. You go right back to your trades and you have another conversation with them.
I will now.
Well, the thing is, once you work with the same trades for a while, they figure out that you're super easy to work for. And so they are happy to give you their very best price, and they're happy to then charge regular folks off the street more money. We're not asking them to charge less. We're actually just asking them to charge more to people they don't know. And once they figure out that that's your strategy, they're super happy to be involved with that. And you know what? I earn every penny on project management because, as you know, managing trades is really complicated and difficult. And those few times when I end up on a project where the trade isn't mine, I just like, oh my gosh, I miss my trade so much because it's just so difficult, right?
Yeah, it's almost like a dance because we know exactly what each other is thinking. For example, my workroom, I cannot even imagine doing a project without my workroom involved, my drapery workroom, because she knows, the things that I don't seem to remember or I may miss something, she catches that. Yeah. Same thing with my tile guy, he like point things out to me. I'm like, I would have never caught that in a million years, So it's almost like a dance, and we know each other very well. And that's why I try to keep the same people as much as possible. I know people talk about turnover all the time, but I think if you treat your trades well, and they know pretty much once I call them into the equation, it's a done deal, because by this point, I've already gotten a deposit from the client. So they know it's a done deal. It's not a waste of time. They'll drop whatever they're doing to come to the jobs that I'm calling them out for estimates. And so it's just worked out well for me in that way.
Absolutely right. That's so funny. I was at a trade day recently with my drapery maker. And I said, if we do a Roman blind, could we do some trim along the bottom? And I was kind of describing what I wanted. And the client happened to be standing there. And he goes, you don't like that. And I said, no. I want to have it, the trim like this. And he goes, no, you don't like that. And I go, what do you mean I don't like that? He goes, we did that at so-and-so's house and you didn't like it. I'm like, oh, right. Right.
There you go. Exactly.
And my client's listening to the whole thing. I said, yeah, well, this is why he makes the big bucks. Because, he knows all this stuff. It's so good.
I love that.
Okay. How does custom furniture play into all of this? Because I know you do some custom pieces as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I try to specify custom as much as possible. One, because I don't like getting shopped, and I don't get shopped a lot. In fact, I don't get shopped at all because of the way I present my ideas to my clients. And where did I get that concept from? Kimberley Seldon.
Yeah, I don't get shopped. I don't get shopped either. Yeah, people say they don't. I've had someone literally say to me, I don't believe you. I'm like, okay, we'll just try it.
I believe you because I don't get shopped. Absolutely don't get shopped at all. My clients have no interest in going to find anything at all. No. And but what I find when you bring custom furniture into the mix as well, that helps to eliminate that idea of shopping you, because then, it's something that you're making from scratch. There isn't anything to compare to that. And I prefer to do that just because I want to bring in a unique touch as much as possible to my client's project. So I specify custom as much as possible, especially in upholstery. And but a lot of times we just have to buy things that are existing and just curate items for our clients in a way that it looks unique and looks like they're the only people who own that particular item, even though it's out there in the marketplace.
Oh my gosh, it's true. I love doing custom as well. Okay, so have you done a deep dive into your business to determine how much of your revenue stream comes from markups? Let's just call it markups for shorthand, from your
Yeah.
margins on selling product and trades compared to your hourly rates?
Well, I'd say my markups, that's the biggest part of my business profitability. I'd say it accounts for my net revenue. I'd say it accounts for over 50% of that. I mean, I do charge my fees, because I time every project. I always am working out how much time I'm spending on certain tasks, so I know what to charge. Because I don't do a flat fee, I still do hourly, but I estimate my fees up front based on hourly what I think the project is going to take. And so I make sure that I'm tracking my time properly. But I still find that my biggest revenue source comes from product sales. And so that's why it's always going to be a part of my business model.
Wow. I know there's people right now listening who are saying, wait, what? Because whenever I have this conversation, invariably there's a designer who said, no, I can't be bothered. I just let the client do the shopping themselves because I just can't be bothered. It's not worth the time. It's not worth the money. And I'm just flabbergasted when I hear that, because the reality is, yeah, this should represent a huge revenue stream for you. And you can't afford not to do this if you're serious about being in business. And the sentiment that you expressed, that you were working, but not being able to pay your bills, I hear that all the time from people. And it doesn't matter if you've been doing it 5 years or 40 years. I've met people who are 40-year veterans who are still not making money. There's no magic. There's no mystery. You have to have a multi-tiered revenue stream. So your hourly rate, which is your expertise, and then your margins on product and trades, right, which is your project management fees. If you do those things, and then you do what Veronica said, which is track your hours, religiously, carefully, thoroughly, and give your clients log sheets with details about those hours, you're golden. There's no way you can't be making huge money. And how much money would you say, or would you say that how much of a growth has there been in your profitability in the last 5 years?
Oh my gosh. Should I say numbers?
Yeah, if you're comfortable. Hey guys, are you okay with her saying numbers? Yeah, everybody's going, yeah, please.
Well, okay, so so about 3 years ago, I started seeing that, when I'm really actually charging a proper margin, I'm actually making money now, So for the first year, I was probably, my gross revenue for the year was probably around 450 or so. The year after that was 587. And then this year, I'm probably on target for about 750. And this is gross revenue, including cost of goods and all that. And for my little business, it's a big deal for me because I came from in the red sometimes. At the end of 1 year, I remember I was by the time I paid taxes and everything, I was in the red, and I worked really hard that year. And I'm like, okay, so why do I owe money instead of earning money here?
How demoralizing is that, right? How demoralizing. What a kick in the self-esteem when you're working full time and you find out you don't have enough money to pay your bills.
Yes. Right. Yeah. And, with 2 little kids at home, I had to step back and think to myself, this cannot happen. Stressed out about money all the time and working hard, taking time away from my family, and something just wasn't making sense. And then I realized the potential that I had that I was not utilizing. I realized that these clients, they're buying these products anyway, I mean, they're going to buy these products anyway. So why am I not the one presenting them with these products and then putting myself in the role of the retailer, making sure that these products obviously work for them, because I'm much more than a retailer, obviously, because I'm not just selling them a sofa, I'm making sure that sofa is the right one for them. And why not get paid on that? And so when I started to really look at it from that perspective, it changed everything for me. And so now every decision that I make, it comes down to okay, is this going to be profitable for my business? Yes, I think about my clients first and foremost to make sure that they're well taken care of, because I believe that my role is to make sure that my clients are happy at the end of the day. But I also think of it in terms of dollars and cents, and as a businesswoman that, okay, this has to be profitable for me as as well too. So I'm not just doing this as a charity. That's why I do charities separate, because I know, okay, that's time that I have no business charging for. Over here, if I'm going to be spending the time, then I need to make money off of it.
I'm so excited for you. I really am. And I'm going to make an assumption too that as your gross revenue has grown, your profitability, your profit margin has grown as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So my margin is probably over 42%. My profit margin on every project is probably over about 42%.
Whoa, that's big, you guys. That's huge. That is huge. That's fantastic. So here's what I see for you in 2018. I see for you, I'm looking into my crystal ball here, and I see you breaking that $1 million. That's what I see for you in 2018. And $1 million with $1 million with a 42% profit margin means Veronica's going to take home. Sorry, this is really getting personal. Veronica's going to take home $420,000. Is that right? Did I do the math right? $420,000.
Yeah, that's about right. So that's the goal for 2018, actually.
Close to $500,000. Yeah, close to $500,000.
So, $500,000.
And this is cracking me up because, of course, 2 seconds ago I heard you say my little business, and I'm thinking like, honey, you don't have a little business. You don't have a little business. You have an old school boys club business now. You're an empire.
I want it to be, I want it definitely. And that's what I'm working towards. And it's very empowering to me because I've gotten this confidence that I never knew I had. And I hate to say, because, you hear the saying that money doesn't buy you happiness. It doesn't buy you happiness, but it does buy you a lot of other things.
It buys you some stuff that makes you happy.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a confidence. I've become such a salesperson because I did not have the confidence in the past to even think of myself as a salesperson. And now in my business, I consider myself that. I consider myself somebody who I'm selling myself, first of all, and then I'm selling a design, a concept, an idea to my clients. And it's very important to me to go into every project and sell it, and so it takes skill, and it's something that I've learned to do. And it came from confidence, it came from the desire to succeed, and it came from that need and that goal that I set for myself that, okay, I'm going to make this a profitable business. I'm not going to run back out there and go work for somebody else, because that's what I would do year after year when I'm trying to do my business and, I wasn't making money because I wasn't doing it right. And then let me just put it on pause here and I'm going to go work for somebody down the street. And, it helped a little bit because I did gain some experience working for other companies. And I have no problem with any designer who has to do that right now just to kind of keep things going. But when I stepped away from that and decided, okay, I'm doing this for real. This is what's going to pay my bills. This is what's going to put my kids through college. This is it. And that when I changed that whole thinking, that's when I saw things just completely change for me.
Wow. You're a real inspiration. You really are. And tell us about your Facebook group.
Okay, so my Facebook group, it's called What They Don't Teach You in Design School. And I started it mainly because over the last couple of years, I realized that I just had this passion to share information. And it was because I was doing this thing all by myself for so long. And I looked around and there was nobody that I could, ask questions or get any mentoring from. And, even locally, I tried to get a mentor locally, and the people were just like, no, we're not hiring. I'm like, well, I'm not even looking for a job. I just want to sit with you for a couple of days or something like that. So when I looked around, it wasn't, it wasn't something that was readily available. But once I started learning and seeing results in my own business, there was just something inside of me that made me want to share that. And so I was in another group where I would share that constantly. And then I decided to kind of leave that group, and I was going to go off and do my own thing. And then somebody said, Veronica, you should start your own group because I noticed that about you. I noticed that you're so good about sharing information. And so I did start the group, and it was really designed for really young designers who were maybe less than 3 years in business, even students, because I am mentoring students as well. And so I started it in that way. But now it's grown to about 1,300 or so members, and it's designers at every stage of their careers, from students to seasoned designers, and we share so much information. We talk about everything, profits and margins and vendor relations and what to charge, design fees, and all of that stuff. So we talk about everything, and I do regular videos in there, and I kind of just talk about my own experience and the things that I've overcome in my own business and the things that I've learned. And, I'll come across something that you said or another mentor of mine may have said, and I kind of share that information with them as well. And so it's become a community of designers who really stick together, and we really care about each other's successes. So it's been great.
Well, I'm really excited that you're doing that. There's so much bad information out there, and I just shudder sometimes when I see the information people give designers. So when I know of somebody who's giving great information and paying it forward, it makes me so happy and so full of gratitude. Like, this really is an amazing business. You guys were not competitors. We're peers. And every single one of us can be a success without it hurting the next one. So, pay it forward. If you've got information that's going to help somebody who's on the road just a little bit further behind you, then, grab them by the hand and share with them what you know, and, follow Veronica's example. I'm really excited that you're doing that. And I'm excited for you, too, because I think, you said money doesn't buy happiness, which is true. But boy, does making money and having a company that's successful give you confidence and self-esteem and self-worth. That's such a gift, right?
It absolutely is. And because of that, because of my whole mindset change when it comes to money, because it's the elephant in the room, I guess. People never talked about money because it's just this weird thing to talk about. And even learning this from you, that when I talk to my clients, first of all, even about money, I sit there and I look them in the eye and I'm like giving them the numbers, and I don't shudder and I don't stutter. This is what your fee is. This is what this project's going to cost. And I approach life in the same way as well. So I have no problem talking about money anymore. And so that's helped to build my confidence where that is concerned. And so, because of money, because of my whole thinking and the fact that it changed, I was able to get myself from a position where I was completely in debt to living debt-free, able to kind of do some of the things I've always wanted to do, opening my storefront finally. That took money, and I'm now able to invest in a little bit of real estate. So I'm doing that. And it's all kind of stemming from the confidence that I got about just talking about money. And it's not this idea of it's greed or it's whatever people think why they don't talk about it. It's not about that at all, because the more money I have, the more I can help somebody.
Yes.
The charity work that I do, it takes money to do that. And so yes, like you said, paying it forward is so important as well, not just to, your knowledge, but that's why you make money sometimes, because you're meant to share it somehow with somebody else who may need it. So
it's so
that's
true.
Yeah.
I love Marianne Williamson. I read sometimes her spiritual writing, and she says, you're not doing anyone a service by playing small. The universe doesn't need you to play small. The universe needs you to be your authentic best self, because then you can reach out and help everybody else, which is true. And you've reached out and helped everybody else today, Veronica, with your candor, even willing to share numbers. What an amazing woman you are. We love you so much. So, Veronica, before we wrap it up, I always like to ask everybody on the podcast now for a little design intervention. One or two tips that you think are completely actionable right this minute for those who are listening when they get out of the car or they take their headphones out and they're done with the podcast and they have a spare 5, 10, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. What actionable advice would you give them for their business?
Well, I would say gain some confidence. And I think it's something that you can just decide to do. It's a switch that you can turn on or off, I think. Just gaining that confidence to go out there and just know that, okay, I'm going to stand behind my designs. I'm going to ask for what I'm worth. I'm going to sell this service today. I'm going to sell all my designs. And just having that confidence, I think, is just one thing I think anybody can kind of just switch that on and go for it.
So in order to gain the confidence, I know a lot of us are involved in ASID groups or Aredo groups or other design community groups. Consider doing some role playing. If you really lack confidence, consider, taking a partner at one of these events and each of you pretending to be the designer or the client and practice, because it gets easier. The more you can say your rates and the cost of goods without flinching, the more your confidence will build. So that's something you could do to kind of gain the confidence. I think it's almost like Toastmasters. You get up and you get comfortable with public speaking, but do some role playing with one another.
Oh, yeah. Or in front of the mirror. I've done that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. In the car. I'm a big talker in the car. Yeah.
Oh, I am too.
Big talker. The thing is, now you can be talking on your cell phone so you don't even look crazy. But like 20 years ago, I just looked batshit crazy because I'm talking to myself and I'm having a real heated conversation, right? Oh my gosh, you're so
funny. I thought I was
funny.
the only one. Oh, my goodness.
You're so sweet. I hope I talked to you before High Point, but I swear I'm putting you on the spot and you are going to lead a seminar at High Point for everybody.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. I would love that.
Yay. Well, big hugs to you out there in Katy, Texas, and keep doing the great work you do. And I love seeing your videos on Facebook. Thanks so much for sharing all this great information.
Thank you, Kimberly. I really appreciate being here, and thanks for having me back on.
At Business of Design, we know it takes more than hard work and talent to successfully run a professional design firm. There are proven business strategies that can solve your immediate business challenges and transform your life. Don't try to do this alone. Join today and you'll have access to more than 100 video courses, plus access to Kimberley Seldon as your mentor and guide. Unlike traditional coaching, which can take years to produce tangible results, BOD is a fast track to immediate results for independent interior designers, decorators, architects, stagers, and landscapers just like you. Monthly membership is only $67.50. Annual members save 2 months and have access to Kimberley's contracts. What are you waiting for? Together, we will achieve extraordinary results. Start today.